Have a good day, Doctor and everyone. My name is Wu Shen. Today I will cover learning objective for how leadership is defined. We use the word leadership every day, but what does it actually mean? Actor Warner Bernis once said, leadership is sleep-leaper. It looks simple, but the moment try to define it, it slips away because it is so complete. If you look at the top right of my map, the definition of leadership has changed through 3 steps over time. For step 1, in the 1950 year, was just medical directing. Leadership back then was simply a boss telling people what to do, and workers just follow order blindly. In step 2, in the 1980 shift to passion and purpose, it's become about painting a big picture and impress people so they want to work hard. Another is step 3. Today is share sense making. Modern leadership is about helping the team understand why we are doing things together, so everyone stay committed during big changes. In evaluation, bring us to some big debates, so we can see on the left side of my map. For example, is leadership just a specialized rules for everyone with a high job title, or it is a shared process where everyone can step up and lead? It is based on pro-region reasons or emotional reasons, and it is just routing management to keep things stable or transformational leadership to change the world. Our textbook author Gary Yuki gives us a very clear definition. He said, leadership is simply the process of helping others understand and agree on what needs to be done and how to do it. Then it is helping the team achieve those goals together. So from this finding, we can see 3 points. The first point is cognitive alignment. It is to get everyone on the same page. The second point is strategy direction. It is set the plan, and the third point is operational execution. It is making things happen. In short, true leadership is not about power or rules. It is about creating shared meaning. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Now I will hand over to Aimee. She will talk about the major leadership theory.
My name is Aimee Rabiatul Adawiyah, and today I will be presenting on the major types of leadership theories. Leadership is an important topic in management because it helps organizations achieve their goals through effective guidance and influence. I will discuss the 5 major leadership approaches. The first theory is the trait approach. This approach focuses on the personal characteristics and qualities that make leaders effective. It suggests that successful leaders possess certain traits that distinguish them from others. These traits include confidence, intelligence, integrity, optimism, knowledge, and strong value. Early leadership researchers believed that leaders were born with these qualities. Although leadership is now viewed as something that can be developed, personal traits are still considered important because they influence how leaders think, communicate, and make decisions. The second theory is the behavior approach. Unlike the trait approach, this theory focuses on what leaders do rather than who they are. It suggests that leadership can be learned through education, training, and experience. Researchers identified 2 main leadership behaviors. First is task-oriented behavior, second is people-oriented behavior. Task-oriented leaders focus on planning, organizing, and ensuring that goals are achieved efficiently. People-oriented leaders focus on supporting employees, building relationships, and maintaining team morale. This approach is important because it shows that effective leadership depends on the action and behavior leaders demonstrate every day. The third theory is the power influence approach. This approach examines how leaders use power and influence to achieve desired outcomes. Leadership is seen as a process of influencing followers rather than simply giving orders. Leaders may use different methods such as persuasion, motivation, communication, and consultation to gain support from their team members. The theory also emphasizes the importance of the relationship between leaders and followers. Effective leaders know how to use their authority responsibly while building trust and cooperation within the organization. The fourth theory is the situational approach. This theory argues that there is no single best leadership style. Instead, effective leadership depends on the situation. Different situations require different leadership behavior. Factors such as the nature of the task, the skill of follower, and the organizational environment all influence leadership effectiveness. For example, a leader may need to be more directive during a crisis, but more supportive when developing employee skill. Therefore, successful leaders must be flexible and adapt their leadership style according to the circumstance they face. The final theory is the value-based approach. This approach focuses on leader values, ethics, and moral principles. It emphasizes that effective leadership is not only about achieving goals, but also about doing the right thing. Value-based leaders demonstrate integrity, honest, fairness, and respect. They inspire trust among followers and promote a positive organizational culture. This approach is closely linked to transformational leadership and servant leadership, where leaders focus on serving others and creating meaningful change within the organization. Besides this five approach, leadership effectiveness is influenced by three key perspectives. The first is leader characteristic, which includes skill, trait, experience, and confidence. The second is follower characteristics such as motivation, commitment, trust, and abilities. The third is situation characteristic, including organizational culture, task complexity, resource, and the leader level of authority. These factors work together to determine how effective will be in particular context.
Hello Doctor and my friends, my name is Chongkawa. I am from BTS Session 3 Group 1 and my number matric is B0623100732. Now I will present about the different ways leadership effectiveness is determined. Leadership effectiveness is about how well a leader influences employees in the organization to achieve goals. In this mind map, we can see that there are 4 ways on how leadership effectiveness can be determined. First, leadership effectiveness can be determined through methods of study. Researchers can use 3 common methods to evaluate leadership effectiveness. They are surveys, observations, and experiments. For survey, it is about collecting information from employees and followers about a leader's behavior and performance. Then, observations involve directly watching leaders in workplace situations to understand how leaders interact with employees and make decisions. Besides, for experiments, it allows researchers to examine how different leadership behaviors affect employee and organizational results. Secondly, leadership effectiveness can be determined through indicators and outcomes. For the time horizon, there are 2 types. There are immediate outcomes and delayed outcomes. Immediate outcomes shows the direct effects of leadership, such as increased follower effort and improved employee skills. Delayed outcomes will occur over time and it also include improvement in quality, productivity, and organizational performance. The indicators and outcomes will also be affected by performance metrics and criteria selections. It means that organizations must decide which measures are most important when evaluating leadership effectiveness. The leadership effectiveness can be determined through the cascade chain of leadership influence. The first pathway begins with inspiring visions. When leaders communicate a clear and motivating visions for the employee will be encouraged to put in greater effort. The increased effort of employees will produce higher quality and productivity of work that will lead to better unit profits. The second pathway begins with training and coaching. Effective leaders will develop the skills of their employees through guidance and support. When employee skills improve, the quality and productivity will also improve. It will lead to stronger organizational performance and profits. Finally, leadership effectiveness can be also determined by examining a leader's influence across 4 organizational domains. The strategy domains will focus on setting directions and achieving objectives. The human capital domain focuses on developing employees' knowledge, skills, and capabilities. The cultural and relational domain involve building trust, cooperation, and positive relationships within the organization. The operational domain focuses on coordinating activities and improving organizational performance. In conclusion, leadership effectiveness can be determined through the leader's influence on employees, the outcomes achieved, and also overall contributions to organizational performance. Therefore, effective leadership is reflected in both people development and organizational success. This is all for me. Thank you.
My name is Ashley Tojing Han. I will explain the main aspects of leaderships that have been studied the most. So this topic is divided into the 4 main areas: leaders, followers, group, and organizations. First, aspects is a leader, which focuses on the personal characteristics of the leader, such as traits like personalities, motives, and confidence, because these qualities can influence how a leader behaves and makes decisions. They also examine values, integrity, and moral development, as ethical leaders are more likely to gain the trust and aspects of their followers. Leadership behaviors influence tactics, emotions, and mental models to understand how leaderships communicate, motivate others, and solve problems. Overall, this aspect helps us understand what makes an effective leader. Second, followers. Because leaderships cannot exist without people who are willing to follow, so this focuses on the people being led include followers' needs, values, and self-concepts to understand what motivates them. They also examine followers' skills and expertise, since capable employees contribute more effectively to organizational goals. How they perceive the leader, trust and identifications with the leader, and their emotions and motivations. These aspects highlights that successful leadership depends not only on the leader, but also on the reactions and commitment of the followers. Third aspect is the group, where leadership is studied within a team environment, includes group compositions like team diversity, size, and member roles, because these factors can affect team performance. They also study the group process such as communications, cooperations, and decision making. Trust and cohesion are another important focus because teams that work well together are usually more productive. For team performance and effectiveness to determine how leadership influences the success of the entire group, this aspect shows that leadership plays a key role in creating teamwork, collaborations, and positive group outcomes. And the last final aspect is the organizations, which looks at the leaderships from a broader perspective. How the leaders influence organizational culture and climate, because leaders often shape the values and working environment of an organization. Also examine organizational structures, systems, and policies that affect how employees perform their work. These aspects helps us understand how leadership contributes to the long-term success of an organization. In conclusions, leadership has been studied from four major perspectives: the leader, the followers, the group or the team, and the organizations. Each perspective provides valuable insights into how leadership works and why some leaders are more effective than others. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Now, I will explain section 1.5 about understanding the organization of this book. This section shows how leadership topics are structured around three main dimensions: type of leadership variable, leadership context, and the amount and scope of available theory. The first dimension is the type of leadership variable, which focuses on who or what is studied in leadership. For leader level, is about the leader traits, skills, and values. Second is dyadic level, one-to-one relationships between leader and follower, including trust and motivation. For group or organizational level, effects on teams or the entire organization. The book explores how this variable shapes leadership outcomes. The second is the leadership context. Leadership does not occur in isolation. For individual context, the followers' characteristics, experiences, and values. For group or team context, it's like team size, norms, and tasks. For organizational context is structure, culture, resources, and systems. For broader context is like societal, cultural, economic, and global influences. By understanding the context helps explain why leadership effectiveness varies across situations. The third is the amount and scope of available theory. For some topics are well developed with extensive research. Others are emerging with limited but promising evidence. Some areas remain underexplored, requiring further study as the for this dimension shows the maturity and breadth of leadership knowledge. In summary, the book organizes leadership theories by what is studied, where it occurs, and how developed the theory is. These three dimensions help readers understand leadership's complexity and guide where future research is needed.